Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on youtube.com/NoDQ&AV, and as always, NoDQ.com, your source for the very latest in WWE and TNA. Don't forget the new location to submit questions for NoDQ&A video is ask.fm/AaronRift. With that being said, let's get right down to your questions. First one today comes from Tyler Johnson. Hey Aaron, I thought that Monday night's crowd was one of the most into it. Monday night crowds in a while. Do you think that we will see more of the same as we saw with the crowd on Monday night, or is it just because it's the day after WrestleMania 29? Unfortunately, it's most likely going to be back to normal next week. That crowd, you have to keep in mind, it wasn't just New York fans. It was a lot of New York fans there, and it was also fans from all over the place, all over the United States, all over the world for that matter, that came in for WrestleMania weekend. They went to the Hall of Fame. They went to all the other activities like Access. They went to WrestleMania, and then to close it off, they went to Raw the next night. So you had all those die-hard WWE fans in one place. And every year, the night after WrestleMania, you have a really hot crowd. But unfortunately, next week it's going to be back in some random city with more of a casual audience, and they're not going to be into it quite as much as these fans were. But yeah, it seems like every year now I'm looking forward to this post-WrestleMania Raw more than WrestleMania itself. It's kind of funny. Alright, this one comes from Christopher Whitehead. What did you think about the possibility of The Shield versus Undertaker and Team Hell No? It looks like WWE is heading that direction going into Extreme Rules. Also, is Fandango the next Daniel Bryan in terms of crowd reaction, and do you see a bright future for him? I do. Well, the thing about Undertaker is he wasn't planned to be doing something with WWE after WrestleMania, and I've heard nothing about there being a Shield versus Undertaker and Team Hell No match. It did seem like that was a tease, but then it's at the SmackDown tapings. I'm not going to spoil anybody, but they went in a different direction. So I would be surprised to see Undertaker at Extreme Rules, but I suppose it's a possibility, especially if The Rock is injured and not able to appear at Extreme Rules. Originally, The Rock was advertised for Extreme Rules, and if he's not there, maybe WWE will try to get Undertaker to be part of that show to make up for Rock not being there. So it is a possibility Undertaker could be there, but I don't think that that's something that's very likely at this point. And as far as Fandango being the next Daniel Bryan, certainly not as a in-ring performer, but right now Fandango is hot, and the crowd really helped get that character over. So we'll see what happens with Fandango if the crowd keeps doing those dance moves or whatever and humming his theme. We'll have to see if it's something that continues to stay hot. Hey Aaron, what are your thoughts on Dolph Ziggler being the new world champion? I personally like it better than Del Rio or Swagger. And this is from Kev. I'm sure a lot of people would agree with you on that. I think that Dolph Ziggler is certainly deserving of being the world champion. He's one of the best performers in WWE today. My big issue is that they should have pushed him a lot harder going in. I hate the fact that the Money in the Bank winner always tends to get buried and he has to put over people before he finally cashes in and wins the title. I mean, it just seems so counterproductive. I think that if you're going to plan to put the title on somebody like Dolph Ziggler, you should build the guy up leading up to him winning the title. So when he finally does win it, he comes off as a credible champion. Dolph Ziggler is so entertaining that I think that it won't make a huge difference, and I think people will still buy into him as a world champion just because he's that damn good. So I'm very happy that he got his opportunity, and you could tell on Raw. I mean, that was some real emotion there, and it was really cool to see. And that pop that he got, I mean, it was a very special moment in Raw history, no doubt about it. So I'm very happy for Dolph Ziggler, and I hope he has a good run. I hope that WWE gives him an opportunity to run with the ball. All right, this one comes from James Colin Warwick. I think Fandango is a good in-ring performer, but if he drops the dancing act, he would be more liked and a good part of WWE. I was mentioning Fandango earlier. Right now he's hot, and perhaps he'll continue to get get big reactions. Maybe people will continue humming his song. And the thing is, right now, it seems to me like a gimmick that's only going to be over in the short term. I don't know if a year from now people are going to care about Fandango. It could be a repeat of Zack Ryder, where it's a character that people get into and it's hot for a couple months and then it just fizzles out. Obviously, Vince McMahon, the big difference is that Fandango is a WWE created character. You know, with Zack Ryder, he was going into business for himself and doing his own thing, and WWE really wasn't crazy about pushing him because, you know, his whole gimmick wasn't really their creation. In this case, Fandango is all a WWE creation, and Vince McMahon is very high on the character. So that's a big advantage for Johnny Curtis doing this character. He's got WWE and the whole marketing machine behind him. So he has a lot of potential to go far. And I think that if he evolves the character and it's not just about the catchphrase, I think he could be a huge success in WWE. So we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out in the coming weeks. This one comes from Chris. Hey Aaron, what did you think of the fans' reactions during the Orton and Sheamus match? To me, it was the best of Raw. Your thoughts? That crowd made that show one of the most memorable Raws in years. I mean, that crowd was, as they put it, awesome. They were a great crowd. And I just thought it was funny that they were doing all those chants during Orton and Sheamus. I think that sent a message to WWE, you know, your most diehard fan base really doesn't care much for Randy Orton and Sheamus. And I think with Orton, it's the fact that he's been the babyface character now, and he really hasn't done all that much. And, you know, I don't think that the most hardcore fans really like Sheamus that much. I think that they feel that he's a guy that was, you know, didn't really deserve the top spot, but got it because, you know, he was workout buddies with Triple H or whatever. You know how those fans are. They really feel that you have to earn your spot, and that's why they respect guys like Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, because the fans know that those guys had to claw and scratch their way. And, you know, to be fair, Sheamus is a guy that had to work his way up, you know, on the indie scene and wrestling scene in Ireland. He had to make a name for himself there before he got into WWE. So, I mean, Sheamus certainly worked, no doubt about it, that he worked his way up and worked hard to get to where he's at today. So I don't think it was all about him just being friends with Triple H. I think that he did earn his spot, but, you know, some fans don't feel that way, and they let WWE know it Raw. I mean, they were doing all those chants because they were bored with the match and didn't want to see it. All right, this one comes from Ellie Garcia. Hey Aaron, what are your thoughts on Wade Barrett immediately winning back the IC title? I thought it was a good push for Miz, but to just snatch it away like that didn't make sense. It reminds me of when Christian won the world title. Absolutely. I have no idea why WWE did what they did, other than, you know, they wanted to have a title change on the pre-show, so for future pre-shows people will tune in thinking they might see something happen. But when you do something like that, I don't see people tuning in for the next pre-show, because their attitude will be, well, you know, you might have a title change, but then you'll just change it back the next night. So I really felt that was majorly counterproductive. And you know, first of all, that match shouldn't have been on the pre-show. It should have been on the pay-per-view. In my opinion, all the titles should be defended at WrestleMania. To not have the U.S. title be defended on WrestleMania, I mean, that was ridiculous. It just makes the title completely worthless. All the titles should be on the line at WrestleMania. And this match should... There's just so many ways that WWE dropped the ball here. They should have the match on pay-per-view. And if Miz is going to win the title, you know, he should have the title for a while. Not, you know, it just erased everything. All right, this one comes from Jason Juarez. Hey, Aaron, I got two questions. How do you feel about Dolph Ziggler's cash-in? I already mentioned that. And your other question here. Also, who do you think will be the first inductee for next year's Hall of Fame? Well, I think if WWE could pull it off, I think that Ultimate Warrior would be your best bet for the 2014 Hall of Fame. You know, WrestleMania 30. I know WWE has been talking Ultimate Warrior, and you know, their big concern is that they'll do all this marketing for him and they'll announce him, and then Warrior will try to hold them up for more money or not show up, or, you know, pull some sort of stunt with them. So I think that's the big thing that's keeping Warrior from going in. But I would love to see it. I hope that Ultimate Warrior Jim Hellwig, I hope that he he goes in and he is able to work something out with WWE. I think Warrior does deserve to be in it. I know a lot of people don't think very highly of him, but he was one of WWE's biggest draws of the late 80s and early 90s and one of the most memorable characters in WWE history. So Ultimate Warrior should be in. I think he should be the headliner next year. And besides Ultimate Warrior, the next top name would be Randy Savage. I mean, Randy Savage should have been in the Hall of Fame years ago. And I think WrestleMania 30 would be the perfect place. I think, Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage co-headlining the Hall of Fame, the big question is how can you top this year's Hall of Fame? And I think having Warrior and Savage there right at the top would really match up. And maybe induct, if Jake Roberts is able to stay healthy, induct Jake Roberts. Same thing with Scott Hall. Scott Hall can stay healthy, induct Scott Hall. That would be an epic Hall of Fame. That would be tremendous. So I hope those guys go in next year. I mean, that would be, if I had to pick the Hall of Fame inductees for next year, those would be my top picks. All right, this last one today, or actually got two more here. This one comes from Matt Wise. Hey, Aaron, love the show. Out of all the WrestleMania stages, which is the best? Mine personally is 18, 20, and 22. Love the show. Answer in the next video. Thanks. I agree with you about 20. I thought 20 was a really cool set. I loved how the the floor where people were walking on also had the the screen and the logos. I just thought it was a really cool stage, and I really liked the WrestleMania 21 stage, the whole WrestleMania Goes Hollywood theme. And then this year's stage, this year's stage was spectacular with the Statue of Liberty on top and the Golden Gate Bridge. I was really disappointed that they didn't do something with that bridge. I thought it would have been cool to have the guys fighting up there on the bridge. I just think it was a missed opportunity. They should have done something with the bridge or done something with the Empire State Building there, have the guys climb it or do something cool like that. It would have made for a very memorable moment, but they didn't do that. Because in the past when WWE has these really, these big time stages, and they'd have the guys do spots on them, and that made the show memorable. When you would do like the spots like with there's one pay-per-view with the backlash with those hooks. They throw the guy into the hook, or the over the edge when Austin threw Do Love on the car, stuff like that. They could have done something with the stage. But yeah, this year's stage was definitely one of the best WrestleMania stages that WWE's ever done. All right, last one today from Mitchell John. Which match would be your dream match? Mine would be the obvious pick: Sting versus Undertaker in Hell in a Cell. I'd love to see Sting versus Undertaker just because of the two being the top stars of their respective company, and both guys could be considered. Sting was always called the franchise, and Undertaker could be considered the franchise of WWE, and that would be an awesome match. My only concern is that Sting hasn't been in WWE, and I don't think a lot of fans would recognize him. A lot would, but there would also be a lot that wouldn't. So I'd have my concerns about how much heat that match would get. And I'm not sure what Sting, Sting is a guy who's like Undertaker getting up there. I don't know how good of a match they'd be able to have at this stage of the game. To me, the one match I really want to see at WrestleMania is Undertaker versus John Cena. That's a match that's been talked about for years and it hasn't happened. I think that's the biggest match that WWE could do at this point. Everybody has this idea of John Cena as Superman. He never gives up. And Undertaker has a WrestleMania streak. So I think a match that would be a huge draw and would have a tremendous amount of heat would be John Cena versus The Undertaker in an I Quit match. That would be something else. All right, that'll do it for this edition of No DQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. Subscribe, youtube.com/NoDQ&AW. Tell a friend on Facebook or Twitter, and stay tuned for more No DQ&A video.